son. Please wake up soon. I'm trying everything I can, and I'll never give up on you. I promised your mother I would take care of you. What would I tell her if you never wake up? I know you can't answer me, but I'll do whatever it takes, my son. Please, come back.
If you can hear me through the silence, if my voice can...
It's been 2 years now, doctor. And you people keep telling me there is nothing more medicine can do? Then I will try something that is not medicine.
Ma, what do you mean?
Dayo's mother, God rest her soul, she gave me this letter before she died. She told me something I never forgot. She said whenever Dayo's soul is trapped in darkness, it can be called back by another soul that shared his very first breath.
His first breath?
Someone born on the same day, in the same morning. Someone whose life began at the very same moment as his.
your heart.
Mama Ruth, even if we find such a person, what exactly do you plan to do?
I plan to bring that person into this family.
I will stay here beside you.
Mama Ruth, do you understand how difficult that search will be?
Then work with my people. I'll have my lawyer, Barrister Uche, put his team on this alongside yours. Whatever you or the records office find, send it directly to him. He will bring it to me.
Very well, Ma.
Leave you in the dark.
Hold on, my son.
So sleep,
Somebody is coming.
my dear, don't be afraid.
Ma, we've gone through every hospital birth record in Lagos for that date and hour. It wasn't easy.
I know what this search has cost, Barrister. Tell me it was not for nothing.
It was not, Ma. We found 3 names. 2 of them have passed away already. One in an accident, the other from illness.
And the third?
A young woman, Juliana Okafor. Her family owns Okafor Events and Promotions. They're well known in high society. You may have crossed paths with them before, Ma.
What do we know about her?
Quite a bit, Ma. We've been looking into her family as well. She's an only child, 26 years old. No formal job. She works as a promoter for her mother's company. The family has money on paper, but my sources say their books have looked shaky for the last 2 years. A partnership with your company would mean a great deal to them right now.
Interesting. A family in need meeting a family in need. Perhaps that will make them more willing to listen. I'm not hoping for a miracle, Barrister. I'm hoping for a chance. That is all a grandmother has left.
Singing through the dark. And if you hear me,
Barrister, please sit. Can I offer you something to drink?
I'm fine, thank you, Ma. Your daughter, Juliana, would relocate to the estate and remain near Dayo during his recovery. In exchange, the Adeleke Foundation would formalize the housing partnership your company has been pursuing for so long.
Very generous.
There is one more matter, Ma. There's also a timeline attached. Mama Ruth would like the partnership documents finalized 1 month after Juliana moves into the house. If your daughter's conduct in the house proves satisfactory, that timeline could move considerably sooner.
Of course. My daughter will behave exactly as required, I assure you.
Excellent. I must say, Ma, it is rare to see a family so willing to help in a situation like this.
We believe in doing what is right, whatever the cost. Juliana, are you listening to me?
I'm listening, Mommy. What is it now?
The Adeleke family has sent a proposal. They want you to marry their son.
You want me to marry a man who can't even open his eyes? What kind of wedding is that? People will be calling me a widow before I'm even a bride.
Juliana, don't you understand? This is our chance. The Adeleke has been looking for a partner for their new housing project.
If you marry into that family,
the project could be ours and our company may never struggle again. People will be calling you rich. I don't care, Mommy. I'm not going to sit beside a coma patient and fan him like a nurse. Find another way.
There is another way.
What way?
What way to what? And what's this I'm hearing about my girlfriend marrying somebody?
Babe, nobody's marrying anybody. It's not happening.
That's not what it sounded like from the hallway. Marry who, exactly?
The Adeleke boy. The one in the coma. It's business, Greg. Nothing real.
Business? You want to hand my girlfriend over to some family so their sick son has a wife on paper? Babe, tell me you're not actually considering this.
Sit down, Greg, and let me finish before you start planning a war. Nobody is asking Juliana to marry anybody. I said there is another way, and there is. Dara's mother before she died. She used to tell me stories about the day she gave birth to Dara. How she went into labor. Around the same time I gave birth to you. Same day, Juliana. The maid's daughter? The maid's daughter. Nobody outside this house needs to know who really walks into that house.
Wait, so Juliana stays here with me, and the maid's daughter goes and plays wife instead, while this family still collects the partnership money?
Exactly.
And if you hear me,
That medicine isn't helping me anymore, sister. You know it. The doctor said I need proper treatment, the one at the big hospital.
I know what the doctor said, Toby. I'm trying.
Dara, come to the sitting room. Now.
Yes, Ma. Let me just...
Now, Dara. Dara, I have an opportunity for you. A very good offer. It will care for all your needs.
What is the opportunity, Ma?
There is a family, a very wealthy family, looking for a young woman to marry their son.
Marry? Ma, I don't understand. Their son is sick. He's in the hospital, in a coma. Sit with him and pretend to be someone else for a while.
Pretend to be who, exactly? Me. Ma, I cannot do that. That is deceiving people. That is lying to a whole family.
Oh, please, stop acting like you're some saint. Do you think people like you can lecture us about honesty? You're just a maid, Dara.
After everything this family has done for you and your mother, this is how you repay us? We gave your mother a roof over her head when she had nowhere else to go. Even after your mother died, I kept you and your brother here. I kept food on your table, gave you work, and helped you and your brother whenever I could. Ma, I'm grateful. I really am. But I cannot pretend to be another woman's wife. Then understand this clearly, Dara. If you refuse, we will no longer take care of Toby's need. You will have to find another way to get him the care he needs. Plus, you and your brother are leaving my house. Ma, please, don't do that. I'm not doing anything, my dear. I'm simply telling you the truth. You have 2 days to think about it. 2 days or you and your brother will have to pack your things and leave.
every night
Rubbish.
I'll tell you stories. Every night I'll call your name.
Toby, I need to tell you something.
About the marriage thing, I heard. The walls in this house are not thick, sister.
Then you already know what it means for your treatment.
I know what it means, sister. Mama used to say, a hand that gives will always find something to hold on to after. Remember? She said it the day the Okafors took us in.
I remember.
So please, be careful. But promise me one thing.
What's that?
Please don't let what you're about to do turn you into someone who forgets who she really is. Whatever they call you in that house, you are still Dara, my sister, Mama's daughter.
Don't lose that. I won't.
Maybe somewhere
I promise.
in the silence you can hear me all the same.
If your chest is already tight, wait until you see what happens next. Subscribe so you don't miss a moment, hit like, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is right now, wherever you are. Now let's go back to the story. The gates of the Adelique estate were taller than any Dara had ever stood before. A driver opened the car door for her and Mama Ruth stood waiting on the steps, dressed simply but with unmistakable authority. "You must be Juliana," Mama Ruth said, studying her closely. "Yes, Ma," Dara said, bowing her head, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for receiving me. Look at me properly, my dear. There's no need to bow in this house." Mama Ruth reached out and gently lifted Dara's chin with 2 fingers, studying her face with something softer than Dara had expected. "You are nervous. I can see it in your shoulders. A little, Ma. There is no need. Whatever this arrangement is on paper, I did not bring you here to be a stranger under my roof." She gestured toward a small sitting area just off the entrance hall, cushioned chairs arranged around a low table. "Sit with me a moment before I take you to him. Let us talk properly, woman to woman." Dara sat carefully, hands folded in her lap, as Mama Ruth lowered herself into the chair across from her. "I know what people say about people like us," Mama Ruth began. "That we are cold. That we collect people the way we collect furniture. I will not pretend some of that is not true of certain families. But I lost my daughter, which is Deo's mother, many years ago, and I promised myself I would never again let a young woman walk into this house feeling like a guest who must earn her place at the table. You are not a guest, Juliana. From today, you are my daughter, however this arrangement came to be. Do you understand me?" Dara's throat tightened, guilt and gratitude tangling together. "Yes, Ma. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Let me tell you what you actually need to know, so nothing surprises you later." Mama Ruth's voice shifted, gentler but more practical now. "My grandson has been unconscious for 2 years. We brought him home from the hospital not long after I began this search for you. I could not bear another day of visiting hours and smelling hallways when I have a house large enough to care for him properly here. His body is healthy, the doctors keep him healthy, fed through a tube, but his mind has not returned to us. At night Nurse Coma comes at 8. Dr. Femi visits every Tuesday and Friday. If anything changes, anything at all, even something small, you come to me immediately, day or night. My door is never locked to news about my grandson." "I understand, Ma." Dara thought in her mind, what exactly am I supposed to do for a man who cannot see me, cannot hear me, cannot even know I am here? Dara thought, am I his nurse now? Some kind of nanny to a grown man? How does anyone expect me to bring a person back from wherever he has gone? She had no answer, and no choice but to agree anyway. Dara lowered her eyes, the weight of the lie sitting heavier in her chest than it had all morning. "I will remember that, Ma." "Good." Mama Ruth rose, smoothing her cloth, warmth returning to her face. "Now come. I will show you to my grandson's room. You will be staying close to him from now on." As they walked through the wide, quiet halls, Mama Ruth spoke again, her tone lighter now. "You don't need to trouble yourself over the contract between our families. If your conduct here continues the way it has begun this morning, I expect the papers will be signed sooner rather than later." "Thank you, Ma," Dara said carefully, though her mind was racing. What contract, exactly? What did Mrs. Okafor push me into? She wanted to ask Mama Ruth, but caught herself in time, because the real Juliana was supposed to already know about the contract before getting here. So Dara simply nodded and let the question die quietly in her chest. Mama Ruth said nothing more, but her eyes lingered a moment longer than Dara liked. At the end of the hallway, a stout woman in a house uniform stepped forward with a warm smile, drying her hands on her apron. "Ah, so this is her. Good afternoon, madam. This is Ngozi," Mama Ruth said. "She has run this house for 20 years. She will help you settle in. I have company matters to attend to." Ngozi opened a door to a modest guest room near the family wing, far simpler than the grand rooms Dara had glimpsed. "This will be your room for now, until the family decides otherwise. Oga Deo's room is just down that corridor." "Thank you, Ngozi." Deo's room was bright and clean, the machines humming softly beside his bed. Dara stood at the doorway for a long time before she found the courage to step inside. When her eyes finally settled on him, a stranger lying so still, so unaware of the lie now stitched into his life because of her, something bitter rose in her chest, and with it, an unexpected pity for herself. She did not know how to do what was being asked of her, how to hold together a pretense this large without cracking under its weight, or what right she had to sit in a stranger's room wearing another woman's name. But there was no one left to ask. So she told herself what her mother always used to say, that her hands would know what to do even when her mind did not, and hoped, quietly, that wherever her mother's spirit rested now, it had followed her into this room. She pulled a chair close, sat down, and looked at his face, calm, unaware, a stranger's face that the whole world seemed to be holding its breath for. "Good evening," she said quietly, as if he could answer. "My name is, well, you don't need to know my name yet. Let's just say I am here to keep you company." She dipped a cloth in warm water and wiped his forehead, his hands, careful and slow, the way she used to care for her brother. "I used to think rich people don't get lonely," she said, adjusting his pillow. "But look at you. Big house, big money, and nobody has touched your hand today until me." She found an old radio on the side table, switched it on low, and let soft high-life music fill the room. "My mother used to sing this song when she was cleaning," Dara said. "She had a beautiful voice. I don't. But I will sing it anyway, because I don't think you can complain." And she began to hum, off-key and warm, as she straightened his blanket and turned off the light. The days folded into weeks. Every day in the house. Dara sat by Deo's side and talked, about her mother, about market women who cheated on weighing scales, about Toby, his junior brother, terrible jokes, about anything that filled the silence. "My mother used to say, a hand that gives will always find something to hold on to after," she told him one morning, adjusting his drip. "My mother said it about everything. Cooking for neighbors. Helping strangers. She believed it, right up until the day she died, tired and broke, still believing it." She paused, brushing a strand of hair from his still face. "I used to think she was foolish for believing that. Now I don't know what I think anymore." A few days later, Dr. Femi arrived for one of his scheduled visits, moving through his usual checks, pupils, reflexes, the notes on the chart at the foot of the bed. Dara stood back respectfully until he finished, then found the courage to ask a question. "Doctor, is it normal that nothing has changed in so long?" Dr. Femi closed the chart, considering her carefully. "Normal is a strange word for a case like this. His body is responding the way we would hope, strong heartbeat, no infection, no deterioration beyond what 2 years of stillness naturally does to a body. That tells me something in him is still fighting, even if we cannot see it from here. Then why hasn't he woken up? I wish I could give you a simple answer." He studied her a moment longer. "Mama Ruth tells me you sit with him every day." "Every day, sir." "Good. Keep doing that. Talk to him, sing to him, whatever comes naturally to you. We cannot prove it reaches him, but we cannot prove it doesn't either, and in 20 years of practice I have learned not to dismiss the things I cannot measure." He gathered his bag. "Nurse Chioma will be coming by more regularly from now on, every evening, not just her usual rounds. If you notice anything at all, however small, call for her immediately, and she will bring it straight to me. Thank you, doctor. One evening, 3 weeks in, his index finger twitched against the sheet. Dara froze. Sir, can you hear me? Nothing. She rang the bell for the nurse anyway, heart hammering. Nurse Coma hurried in, checked the monitors, and gently shook her head. It's just a reflex, my dear. It happens sometimes. Dara nodded, swallowing her disappointment, and sat back down beside him. Sorry, she whispered to him once the nurse had gone. I got excited. Don't mind me. Ngozi found her there most nights, and slowly, without either of them announcing it, a friendship grew. You should sleep in your own bed sometimes, Ngozi said one night, bringing in a tray of tea Dara hadn't asked for. He isn't going anywhere. The machines are watching him better than you can. I know. I don't like the idea of him waking up to an empty room. After everything. Dara accepted the tea gratefully. Is that foolish? It is many things. Foolish is not one of them. Ngozi settled into the other chair with a tired sigh, glancing at Deo's still form. My own mother nursed my father through a long sickness before he passed. People used to tell her she was wasting her best years on a dying man. She told them her best years were whatever years she chose to spend loving somebody properly. She patted Dara's knee. Drink your tea before it gets cold, my dear. Whatever this is you're doing here, it is not foolish. Ngozi rose, gathering the empty tray. I'll leave you to it then. Don't stay up all night, my dear. She let herself out, pulling the door most of the way shut behind her, though not all the way. The moment Dara believed herself alone, she reached for her phone and dialed, keeping her voice low. Toby. It's me. Sister. I was about to sleep. How is Mr. Deo? The same. But I'm not calling about him. How are you feeling? Did you take today's dose? I took it. My chest is still tight in the mornings, but it's not as bad as before. Good. She lowered her voice further. Listen, Mrs. Okafor sent the allowance she promised for this month. I'm transferring it to you now. Use it for the drugs first, you hear me? Not for anything else, whatever you're tempted to spend it on. I hear you, sister. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just get better. Her voice caught slightly. I miss you, Toby. This house is big and quiet, and none of it means anything if you're not getting well. I'm getting there, sister. I promise. She stayed on the call a while longer, listening to him telling her how Mrs. Okafor and her daughter have been treating him while she's not present. She did not notice that the door had never fully closed, or the shadow of Ngozi that had lingered just outside it, listening to every word. Ngozi did not go straight to bed that night. She made her way to Mama Ruth's study instead. Ngozi knocked softly on the door of Mama Ruth's study, and found her still awake, reading by lamplight. Ma, you sent for me earlier. Mama Ruth set her book down, removing her glasses. Sit, Ngozi. Tell me what you've seen. I asked you to keep an eye on her the week she arrived, and you have said almost nothing to me since. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten. I've not forgotten, Ma. I was waiting until I actually had something worth reporting, rather than filling your ears with guesses. Ngozi lowered herself into the chair across the desk. I have watched her closely, Ma, the way you asked. Every night, when she thinks no one is looking. And she sits with him for hours, Ma. Not the way someone performs for an audience. There is no audience at midnight. She talks to him about her mother, about market prices, about nonsense that makes no sense to repeat to a man who cannot answer. She sang to him tonight, Ma. Even with her bad voice, she sang anyway because she thought it could help. Mama Ruth was quiet for a moment. Go on. I asked her once why she troubles herself so much when he cannot even know she is there. She told me she doesn't like the idea of him waking up to an empty room. Ngozi shook her head slowly. Ma, I have worked in this house for 20 years. I have watched women come through that gate dressed like queens who could not sit with a sick man for 20 minutes without checking their phones. This one has not touched her phone once since she arrived, except tonight, to call her brother. Her brother. Mama Ruth's eyes sharpened slightly with interest, filing the detail away. Yes, Ma. Sick boy, from what I gather. I did not mean to hear it. I had only stepped out to return the tray to the kitchen, and the door did not latch behind me, but once I realized what I was hearing, I did not walk away. She was sending him money, Ma. An allowance from the Okafor family, she called it, meant for his medicine. She made him promise to spend it on nothing else. Her voice broke when she told him she missed him. Ngozi's own voice softened. That is not a performance, Ma. Nobody performs that well when they think no one is listening. I believe you. Mama Ruth folded her hands on the desk, thoughtful. You understand why I asked you to watch her, Ngozi. This family has been fooled by pretty faces before. I needed to know if this one was performing for me, or if what I was seeing was real. Ma, in 20 years I have learned to tell the difference between people who are kind because it benefits them, and people who are kind because they don't know how to be anything else. Ngozi met Mama Ruth's eyes steadily. This girl is a genuine kind, regardless of whatever secret she might be keeping from us, but what I'm sure of from what I see is that her care for Mr. Deo is not one of the things she is lying about. Mama Ruth nodded slowly, something settling in her chest that felt almost like relief. Thank you, Ngozi. Continue watching, quietly. But watch with a little more warmth than suspicion from now on. I think, perhaps, we have been given something rarer than we realized. Yes, Ma. Ngozi rose to leave, then paused at the door. Ma, if I may say one more thing. Say it. Whatever happens with the papers and the partnerships and all this business between your family and the girl family, that girl loves him already, Ma, in her own quiet way. Whether she knows it herself yet, I cannot say. But I have eyes, and I know what I have seen. Mama Ruth said nothing, but the small private smile that crossed her face as Ngozi closed the door said enough. The moment Ngozi's footsteps faded down the hallway, though, the smile slipped slowly from her face. She sat alone with her thoughts for a long while, turning over one detail Ngozi had overheard from the call again and again until it refused to sit comfortably in her mind. How could Juliana be receiving an allowance from the Okafor family? She was part of the Okafor family, their only child and, therefore, the heiress to her father's company. What use would an heiress have for an allowance? But the most shocking part was that the money was being sent quietly to a sick brother no one knew about. And even if Juliana truly had a brother they knew nothing about, wouldn't the Okafor family be responsible for taking care of him? Why would his medical expenses have to come from Juliana's personal allowance? These informations are not adding up. Mama Ruth could not yet put a shape to her unease, only the small, persistent itch of a woman who had built a company by noticing the details other people allowed to pass unnoticed. Later, she murmured to the empty room, finally closing her book. I believe when the time is right, the truth will reveal itself. Dara had fallen asleep in the chair again, the way she did most nights now, her head resting against the wing of the seat and one hand near his on the blanket. The sky outside had just begun to lighten, the first gray edge of morning creeping through the curtains, when a soft groan broke the stillness. Her eyes flew open. Sir. His fingers twitched against the sheet. His eyelids fluttered, then opened slow, confused, blinking against the dim morning light. Sir, can you hear me? Blink twice if you can hear me. He blinked. Once. Twice. Oh my God! Dara shot up, knocking the chair back, and ran to the door. Nurse! Somebody! He's awake! He's awake. Nurse Coma, just finishing her final rounds before the morning shift arrived, came running. Her professional calm cracking into open shock the moment she saw his eyes tracking the room. Call Dr. Femi. Call him now. Tell him to come immediately. Don't wait for his normal rounds. Word moved through the house faster than anyone could properly announce it. By the time Dr. Femi arrived, still fastening his white coat, Mama Ruth was already at the bedside in her morning dress, hair uncovered, dignity forgotten entirely as tears fell freely down her face. "Deo, my son, can you see me?" His voice came out cracked, barely a whisper. "Grandma." "Yes. Yes, it's me." She grabbed his hand, kissing it over and over. "You came back. You finally came back to me." His eyes moved past her, searching the room in the growing morning light, and landed on Dara, standing frozen near the door. Who was singing?" he murmured. Mama Ruth turned, surprised. "Singing? Someone was singing," Deo said again, weaker now. "I heard her voice every night while I was unconscious." Dr. Femi moved in quickly after that, checking pupils, reflexes, asking Deo simple questions. His name, the date, how many fingers, while the room held its collective breath. Deo answered slowly, some questions clearer than others, exhaustion pulling at him between each one. "He needs rest," Dr. Femi said finally, straightening. "This is a lot for a body that has been still for 2 years. Let him sleep. We'll run full scans this afternoon once he has some strength back." By mid-morning, the room had emptied of its urgency. Mama Ruth reluctantly persuaded to eat something after refusing breakfast. The nurses cycling through routine checks. The house settling into a new, cautious kind of hope. Dara stayed near the doorway most of the day, unsure of her place amid the family's private joy, slipping in only to bring water or adjust his pillow whenever he stirred. He woke properly again just after noon, more alert this time, and found her adjusting his drip. "You're still here," he said, voice stronger now. "I didn't want to crowd you and your grandmother. Family should have this moment." He studied her for a long moment, still working to piece together where he was and who everyone around him had become. "What's your name? I don't think I ever caught it, in all the commotion." Dara's breath caught, though she kept her voice steady, the way she had rehearsed it in her head more times than she could count. "Juliana," she said. "Juliana Okafor. Your fiancé." Something flickered across his face, surprise, maybe confusion. A fiancé how? No memory he could find, no matter how he searched. 100 questions rose in him at once, but no answer, and some quiet instinct told him this was a conversation better had with his grandmother first, away from this woman's face, before he said something he could not take back. "Juliana," he repeated slowly, testing the shape of the name. "Right. Of course. Did I really hear you singing?" he asked instead, setting the bigger question aside for now. "Or was that just something my mind invented while I was gone?" Dara's cheeks warmed. "It was really me. Though I warned you, I'm not very good at it. I don't remember minding." He managed a tired, genuine smile before his eyes grew heavy again. "Stay a little longer. Please." She did through the afternoon medical scans. Through the evening when he finally ate food and drank a full cup of tea. By the time she finally left his room that night, the sky had gone dark for the first time all day, and something in her chest had shifted too, quietly, without her fully noticing it happen. Later that night, once the house had quieted and Dara had gone to find some rest of her own, Mama Ruth slipped into Deo's room to check on him before retiring, the way she had every night for 2 years while he was in coma, though tonight, for the first time in all those nights, he was awake to greet her. "Grandma, I thought you'd have gone to bed by now." An old woman does not sleep easily on the night her grandson comes back to her. She settled into the chair beside his bed, studying his face as though she still could not quite believe it was real. "How are you feeling?" "Tired. Confused." He hesitated. Grandma, can I ask you something? About Juliana. Mama Ruth's expression steadied, careful. Ask me anything. I don't remember her. Not her face, not choosing her, not a single moment of an engagement. How long have we been together? Why does none of it feel familiar? You have been in that bed for 2 years, my son. There is a great deal you will need time to remember, or to learn fresh, whichever comes first. She took his hand gently. Juliana came to us not long ago. I searched for her myself, for anyone born the same hour as you, on the same morning. Your mother always believed such a person could reach you when nothing else could. I do not know if it was superstition or grace, but she came, and you opened your eyes 3 weeks later. Whatever she is to you now, however unfamiliar it feels, you owe your huge part of waking up to her, because she's always sitting beside you every day and night, even when the rest of the world had stopped hoping. Deo turned this over slowly. Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? About the engagement, about all of this. Because you had just opened your eyes after 2 years of silence, my dear son, Mama Ruth said, a small, wry smile touching her lips. There will be time for all of that. For now, rest. Let yourself heal before you carry anything heavier. She did not mention the allowance, or the sick brother which gave her persistent worries she had not yet found answers for. She had decided not to rush so the truth can reveal itself to her properly. She kissed his forehead, the way she used to when he was a boy, and left him to sleep. The days that followed blurred into a careful, hopeful rhythm, physiotherapy in the mornings. Short walks down the corridor by afternoon, Deo's strength returning in small, stubborn increments. 2 weeks after the awakening, he was strong enough to sit outside. Dara wheeled him into the garden every afternoon, and slowly, cautiously, conversation replaced silence. You still haven't told me your favorite color, Deo said one afternoon, squinting against the sun. Why does that matter? Because my grandmother tells me my fiancé's favorite color is purple. But you flinch every time someone hands you anything purple. The flowers this morning, even the notebook Ngozi gave you. You flinched. Dara froze, caught off guard. Maybe that's because purple isn't actually my favorite color. He watched her carefully, not unkindly, more curious than accusing. Then what is your favorite color? She hesitated, then relented. Green. Like fresh ugu leaves in the market before anyone touches them. See. That wasn't so hard. He smiled, and something in his face was lighter than it had been since the conversation he had with Mama Ruth that night. Why not tell me something else about you? Why does it matter so much to you? Because you're the only person who hasn't tiptoed around me since I woke up, so just tell me anything about you. Might even be small, but be honest with me. Dara's chest tightened with guilt she prayed didn't show on her face. The one truth he was really asking for was the one truth she could never give him, which was her being the fake Juliana. But instead she gave him something. I like early mornings, she said. Before the world wakes up properly and starts demanding things from me. It's the only time that ever really belongs to me. Good, I'll remember that, Deo said softly, and for a moment neither of them looked away. You face looked tired this afternoon. Were you up with me again last night? A little. You don't have to keep doing that, you know. Sitting with me every night like the world will end if you look away. Old habits, she said quietly, which was truer than he knew. Besides, I don't mind. Then I won't complain, Deo said, smiling. As long as you let me return the favor someday, when I'm strong enough to sit up all night worrying over you instead. Mrs. Okafor arrived unannounced at the estate gate, dressed in her finest, demanding to see her daughter. Dara met her quickly at the side entrance before she could go further, panic rising in her chest. Ma, please, what are you doing here? I am here to remind you why you are here, Mrs. Okafor said under her breath. The foundation partnership papers still have not been signed. It has been a month, Dara. A month of you playing house in this mansion while my company is drowning. Something in Dara went suddenly, terribly still. So this is what it was all along. Juliana had never refused this arrangement out of love or duty. She had refused because she cannot be a wife to a coma patient talkless of babysitting him all day. But the papers still needed a bride sitting beside that bed, still needed someone whose presence would satisfy whatever condition Mama Ruth's search had been built around. Dara was not standing in for a fiancé at all. She was standing in for a signature. Regardless, she just had to play along. "Ma, please lower your voice," she managed, though her own voice had gone thin. "Then give me a reason to." A month, and Mama Ruth has said nothing about finalizing anything. You were told behave well, and the papers move sooner. Instead, I hear silence. Mrs. Okafor's smile did not reach her eyes. Or should I remind you what happens to Toby's treatment if this family walks away with nothing? I am doing everything I can, Ma. I sit with him every day. I have not put a single foot wrong in this house. Then make sure Mama Ruth notices it faster. She is the one whose signature matters here, not his. Charm her if that is what it takes. An old woman like that wants to see devotion before she puts her name to anything, so give her devotion, convincingly, until she has no reason left to wait. She jabbed a manicured finger toward Dara's chest. You have 2 weeks. Find a way to move that woman's hand toward a pen, or I will come back here myself and tell her exactly who is really sitting by her grandson's bed. She turned and left as sharply as she had arrived, leaving Dara trembling against the wall. Unaware that Deo, walking slowly with a cane down the corridor behind her, had heard every word. That evening, Deo sent word through Ngozi asking Dara to meet him in the garden. When she arrived, the easy warmth that usually softened his face was gone, replaced by something guarded and unreadable. You wanted to see me? Sit down, please. He waited until she had, his eyes never leaving her. This afternoon, I was walking by the gate when a woman arrived asking for her daughter. I heard everything, Juliana. Word for word. She said something about foundation partnership papers still not being signed. She threatened you. I heard her say she would stop paying for someone's treatment. Who is Toby? What business deal was she talking about? And why did she say she would come back here and tell my grandmother exactly who is really sitting by my bed? Dara, who is she? The color drained from Dara's face. Dara opened her mouth, but no sound came. Deo, please, I don't want an excuse. I want the truth. Who is that woman to you, and what does she have that lets her speak to you that way? Before Dara could find the words, footsteps sounded on the veranda. Mama Ruth stepped out into the fading evening light, drawn by the tension carrying across the garden. What is going on out here? There was no more room to hide behind half-answers now. Deo had already heard enough on his own to unravel everything, and pretending otherwise would only make the lie uglier when it finally broke. Dara rose on shaking legs, tears already falling, and crossed toward her. Ma, please. I need you to hear this too. Mama Ruth's steps slowed as she took in both their faces. What is going on? My name is not Juliana. The garden went silent except for the wind moving through the trees. My name is Dara. I am the Okafor family's house help. Juliana refused to marry a man in a coma, so her mother forced me to come here in her place, using her name, because she knew my brother's medical bills would break me if I said no. My brother Toby is very sick. They said they would stop paying for his treatment if I refused. She was sobbing now, but she did not stop. I am not from money. I am not an heiress of the Okafor's family. I am nobody. I only wanted my brother to live. Deo let out a slow breath, something clicking into place behind his eyes. Dara, he repeated quietly, testing the name. That's the name I heard that woman use this afternoon. I didn't understand it then. I do now. Mama Ruth stood very still, her face unreadable, though behind it, pieces were finally falling into place. Ngozi's account of the phone call. The brother. The allowance that had never made sense for an Okafor heiress to receive, because it had never been an heiress's allowance at all, only wages, sent quietly to keep a sick boy alive. Every question that had sat unanswered in her study that night now had its answer standing in front of her, sobbing, telling the truth at last. "You lied to me," she said finally. "You lied to my grandson. You lived in my house under a false name for weeks." "Yes, Ma. And I am sorry. But I am not sorry for taking care of him. Every word I said to him, every night I sat beside him, that part was never a lie." Deo rose slowly, still weak, and crossed the small distance between them, his eyes never leaving her face. "Deo, I understand if you," he cut in, his voice thick. "I heard you every single night, when I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even open my eyes. I heard you talking to me about your mother's cooking, about your brother, about that song. You made 2 years of darkness feel less like a grave." He took her trembling hand. "A name on a paper doesn't change any of that. Nothing about what you did for me was false." Mama Ruth finally spoke, her voice low but firm. "Dara." Dara flinched, bracing herself. "Look at me," Mama Ruth said. Dara lifted her eyes, tears streaming freely now. "I sat in that hospital for 2 years and watched doctors fail my grandson. And then a stranger walked in and did what no medicine could do. I don't care what name was on the paper when you arrived." Her voice cracked, just slightly. "You brought my son back to me. That is not something a liar does. That is something only love does. Ma." Dara replied with tears flowing down her face. "The Okafors used you," Mama Ruth said, anger flashing now, sharp and sudden. "They used your brother's illness as a weapon against you. That is what makes me furious. Not you, my dear. Them." She reached out and pulled Dara into an embrace, the younger woman collapsing into it, sobbing. "You are staying here. As his wife, in truth this time, if he wants you, and by the look on his face, I think he does." Deo let out a small, tired laugh through his own tears. "I do." Mama Ruth's expression sobered slightly, though the warmth in it never left. "One more thing, before we let this evening close. Whatever comes next in this family, there must be no more lies between us. Not small ones, not well-meant ones, not even the kind you tell yourself are protecting someone. Whatever the situation, whatever it costs you, you come to us with the truth. Promise me that." "I promise, Ma." "Good." Her tone turned practical again. "Now your brother. Toby, is that his name?" "Yes, Ma. He cannot stay where he is a single day longer. Because this family will see to his treatment properly, starting tomorrow, and also because once the Okafors learn the truth, and they will learn it soon enough, they may try to use him against you again to force your hand. I will not have that boy sitting somewhere unprotected while people who have already shown what they are capable of decide what to do next. Send for him tomorrow. Bring him here, where we can watch over him properly." "Thank you, Ma," Dara replied with lots of tears falling from her face. Deo nodded, something hardening in his expression despite his exhaustion. "And when the Okafors do come looking for trouble, because they will, we will already know exactly how to deal with them." The next morning, a car pulled up to the estate gate. And Toby stepped out slowly, leaning on a walking stick, blinking at the size of the compound. "Sister, is this a house or a hotel?" Dara laughed through tears, running to hug him carefully. "Don't embarrass me, Toby." Deo approached, extending a hand. "You must be the famous Toby. Your sister talked to me about you every single night, whether I was listening or not." Toby shook his hand, a little starstruck. "Every night, sir. Every night. I think I know your favorite football team, your worst subject in school, and at least 4 of your jokes. Ah, she told you the one about the goat and the pastor? 3 times, Deo said solemnly. It did not get funnier. Toby burst out laughing, and Dara felt something in her chest loosen that had been tight for years. Mama Ruth stepped out onto the veranda, watching the 3 of them with quiet satisfaction. Ngozi, she called. Prepare the room for the young man. And call Dr. Femi. I want the best specialists looking at those lungs by tomorrow morning. Ma, you don't have to, Dara started. I know I don't have to, Mama Ruth said simply. I want to. Family takes care of family, Dara. You are one of us now. That means he is too. Later that night, Dara sat alone on the veranda steps, unable to sleep, when Mama Ruth's voice startled her. You are still awake. I couldn't sleep, Ma. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb the house. Sit properly, you're not disturbing anyone. Mama Ruth lowered herself onto the step beside her, slower than she used to move. Tell me what is keeping a bride from her sleep few weeks before people start calling her Mrs. Adelic in the streets, Dara hesitated. Ma, I look around this house, the paintings, the cars, the way people speak to your family, and I think, what am I doing here? I don't know which spoon to use. I don't know how to greet the wives of your friends properly. I am going to embarrass Deo one day, Ma. I know it. Mama Ruth was quiet for a moment, then let out a small, tired laugh. My dear, do you know what my husband used to say about spoons? No, Ma. He said a man who needs 7 different spoons to eat 1 plate of food is a man who has forgotten what hunger feels like. She patted Dara's hand. You are worried about spoons and greetings. I watched you sit beside a dying man for 2 years with no reward in sight, no promise anyone would ever know your name. That is not something money teaches a person. That is something a person is, or is not. But what if I fail at all of this? The events, the society, the performance of it all. Then you fail at performance, Mama Ruth said simply. And you will still be the only daughter-in-law I have ever had who I did not have to teach how to love my grandson properly. That, my dear, you already know how to do better than anyone I have met. Dara wiped her eyes, managing a small laugh. You always know exactly what to say, Ma. I am old. It is the only advantage age gives you. The words come slower to leave, but they come out truer. Mama Ruth rose, joints creaking, and pressed a kiss to the top of Dara's head, an unusually tender gesture from her. Sleep now. Tomorrow the spoons will still be there, and so will you. News of the exposed swap reached the Okafor sitting room by phone call from Barrister Uche telling them they have been exposed and the contract have been terminated. Mrs. Okafor's face went pale as she listened, then hung up slowly. They know, she said. Dara told them everything. Juliana shot up from the sofa. What? That stupid girl. Does she know what she has cost us? Calm down. Mummy, calm down. As how? The whole partnership is gone. Don't you understand? Gone. Juliana paced, fists clenched. That was supposed to be my life. My money. And she just handed it to herself like she was born for it. Mummy, what are we going to do about it? Her voice cracked, panic creeping in now beneath the anger. I went to the boys' quarters myself this morning, before any of this call even came through. I wanted to speak to that brother of hers. He was not there. Nobody was there. Which means he has already gone to meet his sister at that estate. Which means whatever hold we still had over that girl through him is already gone too. Mrs. Okafor replied. The Adelics don't just walk away quietly. Once they feel disrespected, they destroy. We need to fix this before they act first. Fix it how? Juliana demanded. Mrs. Okafor's eyes narrowed, thinking fast. There's a foundation dinner next week. Half of the society will be there. We remind everyone exactly what that girl is, a housemaid pretending to be a bride. Before Mama Ruth can spin her into some fairy tale, we make sure the truth humiliates her first. Juliana's mouth curled into a slow, bitter smile. Now that I can do. Mrs. Okafor nodded slowly. Fine. Let's start with that first, at the dinner. If that doesn't work, we will know what next to do. We are not going to give up till we get what is ours back. Of course, Mummy, it will work, Juliana said, already reaching for her phone to check the guest list. By the time we're done, that girl will wish she'd stayed in our kitchen. The foundation dinner hall glittered with chandeliers and quiet piano music. Dara stood near Deo, her hand tucked into his arm, nerves written all over her face despite her calm smile. You look beautiful, Deo whispered. Stop worrying. Easy for you to say. Everyone here has more jewelry than my whole village put together. He chuckled, but the sound died when Juliana appeared across the room, dressed in red, Greg at her side, both walking directly toward them with practiced smiles. Dara, Juliana said loudly, voice carrying across the hall. Or should I still call you Juliana? I forget which lie we're supposed to be telling tonight. Conversations nearby stopped. Heads turned. Juliana, this is not the place, Deo started. Oh, but it's exactly the place, Juliana said sweetly, raising her voice further. Everyone should know. This woman on your arm, she's my family's house help. Cleans floors. Washes plates. And now she's parading around pretending she belongs in this room. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Greg smirked. A maid who tricked a billionaire into marrying her. That's actually impressive, in a sad way. Enough, Deo said sharply, stepping forward, but Dara touched his arm gently. Let me answer, she said quietly. Then she spoke louder to the room. I did clean floors. I washed plates for a family that used my brother's sickness to control me. I am not ashamed of honest work. Are you ashamed of dishonest ones? A few people gasped. Some of the guests near the front nodded and showed their approval. She really knows how to speak her mind, an elderly man near the buffet whispered to his wife, loud enough for others to hear. I like her. Juliana's smile faltered, but she pressed on. Honest work. You lied about your name for months. You let a whole family believe you were someone you're not. I did, Dara admitted, her voice steady despite the tears building. And I will carry that. But tell this room, Juliana, whose idea was it? Whose voice threatened to stop paying for my brother's medicine if I refused? Was it mine? Juliana opened her mouth to speak, but then closed it again. A few feet away, Mrs. Okafor suddenly became very interested in her wineglass. Answer her, someone in the crowd called out. That's not the point, Juliana stammered. It is exactly the point, Dara said, and for the first time that evening, her voice did not shake at all. This is ridiculous, Juliana snapped, turning to the watching crowd. You're all going to believe a housegirl over my family's name? I don't need you to believe me, Dara said quietly. The truth doesn't need permission to be true, Juliana. It was always going to come out, you just wanted to choose the room it happened in. For the first time all evening, Juliana had nothing to say. Mama Ruth stepped forward then, silencing the room simply by walking into it. Juliana Okafor, she said, calm and cold. You and your mother tried to force a young woman into a lie you were too cowardly to live yourselves. Then, when the lie failed, you came to my grandson's celebration to humiliate the woman who saved his life. She turned to the crowd. Let it be known from tonight, the Okafor family and any business bearing their name is no longer welcome at any Adelique Foundation event or any partner event connected to us. The room fell into stunned silence. Mrs. Okafor's face drained of color as murmurs of shock spread. You can't do that, Juliana hissed. I just did. Mama Ruth said simply, and turned back to Dara, offering her arm. Come, my dear. Let us enjoy the rest of our evening. By morning, screenshots of the dinner hall confrontation had already spread across every society news station in the city. Dara scrolled through her phone at the breakfast table, her stomach sinking with every new post. Maid marries billionaire, the shocking truth behind the Adelique wedding, she read aloud, voice flat. They've turned my whole life into a headline. Deo took the phone gently from her hands and set it face down on the table. Let them write headlines. Headlines don't feed you, don't love you, don't sit with a dying man. They're just noise. Easy for you to say. Nobody is calling you a liar in the comments. They called me a vegetable for 2 years while I couldn't defend myself, Deo said quietly. I know exactly what it feels like to be talked about by people who don't know the first thing about you. The difference is, now I can talk back, and I choose to spend that voice defending you. Dara managed a small, tired smile. You're supposed to be recovering, not fighting my battles on the internet. Then fight beside me instead of alone, he said, reaching for her hand across the table. That's what marriage is supposed to mean, isn't it? Even the real kind. Later that evening, Deo sat in his study, laptop open, jaw tight with quiet fury. His assistant, Bimbo, knocked and entered with a folder. Sir, you asked me to look into the Okafor company's recent contracts. She placed the folder on the desk. It's worse than blacklisting them, sir. Look at page 3. Deo flipped through, eyes narrowing. Forged signatures. Multiple suppliers claim they never signed the invoices the Okafors submitted for payment. 3 companies have already threatened legal action but were paid off quietly to stay silent. How long has this been going on? Years, sir. It looks like their whole business model relies on shorting suppliers and covering it with fake paperwork. How did you get all this in 1 week? Bimbo allowed herself a small smile. Ngozi mentioned that one of the drivers used to work for the Okafors before coming here. He remembered Name's accountants who quit suddenly, a supplier who threatened to go to the police 2 years ago and then went quiet. I just followed where he pointed. Remind me to give that man a raise. Already done, sir. She hesitated. Sir, if I may, this could destroy the family completely. Not just the business. Mrs. Okafor, Juliana, all of it. Are you certain we should do this? Deo closed the folder slowly, a hard look settling over his face. Send this to legal. Quietly. I want everything confirmed before we move. Yes, sir. What changed your mind about just walking away from them? Deo looked toward the window, thinking of Dara's steady voice defending herself in a room full of strangers. They tried to break someone who never did anything but survive. I'm not walking away from that. Toby walked slowly out of the supermarket gate, still favoring his weaker side, when a familiar black car pulled up beside him. The window rolled down. Juliana smiled from the passenger seat. Toby, Miss Juliana. She opened the door. Get in. I have a message for your sister Dara, and it will be much easier if you're the one who delivers it. I don't think I should. It's not a request, Greg said from the driver's seat, his voice flat. 2 men stepped out from the back seat, and Toby's protest died in his throat as a hand closed firmly around his arm. Let go of me. Relax, small boy. Nobody wants to hurt you, Juliana said sweetly, though her eyes said something colder. As long as your sister cooperates. Dara's phone rang while she was arranging flowers in the estate's garden. She answered, humming, until the voice on the other end made her go still. Hello, Dara, Juliana said, syrupy sweet. I have something of yours. What are you talking about? Your brother. Toby, is it? He was walking home from the supermarket, alone, foolishly, when my driver offered him a ride. He's with me now. Very comfortable. For now. Dara's blood ran cold. If you touch him, I swear. Relax. He's fine. I just need one small thing from you. Divorce Deo. Publicly. Tell everyone the marriage was a fraud from the start, and I'll return your precious brother without a scratch. Refuse, and, well, Juliana's voice hardened. We'll see how strong his lungs really are. The line went dead. Dara stood frozen for only a second, before she was running toward the main house, screaming Deo's name. Deo met her halfway across the compound, already reaching for his phone. What happened? They have Toby. Juliana has Toby. Dara could barely get the words out between sobs. She wants me to sign divorce papers, or she says she won't touch him. Deo was already dialing security, his voice hard and fast. Get the car. Call the police, but tell them to hold off until we know exactly where they're keeping him. I won't risk them panicking and hurting him before help arrives. He gripped Dara's shoulders, forcing her to look at him. Look at me. We are getting your brother back. Do you hear me? Whatever it costs. The address Juliana sent led to an abandoned warehouse near the old textile market. Deo's car screeched to a stop, security guards spilling out behind him and Dara. Inside, Toby sat tied to a chair, pale and frightened but unharmed, Greg standing guard beside him with a length of pipe in hand. Toby! Dara ran forward, but Greg stepped in front of her, pipe raised. Not so fast. Sister, I'm sorry, Toby called out, voice hoarse. I didn't see them coming, Don't apologize, don't you dare apologize, Dara said, tears streaming. Hands raised toward Greg in surrender. Let him go. This is between me and Juliana. Juliana emerged from the shadows, arms folded, unbothered. Sign the divorce papers. In front of witnesses. Or your brother stays exactly where he is until I decide otherwise. Juliana, please, Dara begged, all her earlier courage gone, replaced by raw fear. He has never done anything to you. This is me, punish me, not him. How touching, Juliana said, unmoved, holding out a folder of papers. Sign. Dara reached for a pen with shaking hands, but Deo's hand closed gently over hers, stopping her. Don't sign anything, Deo said firmly, stepping forward. This is over, Juliana. Kidnapping is a crime. You've already lost everything else. Don't lose your freedom too. You think I care about freedom at this point? You already took my whole future. Juliana screamed, months of humiliation cracking through her composure at once. Shut up! Greg lunged suddenly, swinging the pipe toward Deo's head. Dara screamed and threw herself between them, shoving Deo aside as the pipe grazed her shoulder instead, sending pain shooting through her arm. Dara! Deo moved fast, grabbing Greg's arm and twisting the pipe free. Security closing in seconds later to pin him down. In the chaos, Dara scrambled to Toby, untying the ropes with shaking hands. I've got you. I've got you, I promise. Juliana backed toward the exit, but two security guards blocked her path. This isn't over, she spat. It is, Deo said, breathing hard, one arm wrapped protectively around Dara and her brother. It's over. Toby clung to Dara's arm, still shaking. Sister, I was so scared. I kept thinking about Mama, wondering if I was about to see her again. Don't say that. Don't ever say that. Dara held his face in her hands, checking him over for injuries with trembling fingers. You are staying right here, with me, for a very long time. Do you hear me? I hear you. Your shoulder is bleeding, sister. It's nothing. She winced as Deo gently examined the graze, already calling for the doctor on his phone. It's not nothing, Deo said firmly, pressing his jacket against the wound. You threw yourself in front of a pipe for me. Again. When will you learn to let someone protect you for once? Dara managed a small, pained smile despite everything. Maybe when you stop giving me reasons to. Blue and red lights flashed outside the warehouse as police officers led Juliana and Greg out in handcuffs. Mrs. Okafor arrived just in time to see it after she heard the news. Hand pressed to her mouth in genuine horror. This was not something she had known about. The kidnapping itself had been Juliana and Greg's plan alone, hatched without her knowledge. Kidnapping, extortion, and endangerment, the officer read from his notes. You two have a lot to answer for. Juliana, what have you done? Mrs. Okafor's voice broke as she rushed forward, staring at her daughter in handcuffs as though looking at a stranger. I did not raise you for this. I never told you to touch that boy. Ma, please step back, another officer said gently but firmly. Mrs. Okafor turned desperately to Dara, who stood wrapped in a white blanket someone had draped over her shoulders, Toby held tightly against her side. Dara, please. Tell them this was all a misunderstanding. You know my daughter. She wouldn't. I know exactly who your daughter is, Ma, Dara said quietly, no anger left in her voice, only tiredness. I have known since the day you both decided my brother's life was a bargaining chip. I am done protecting people who never once protected me. Mrs. Okafor had no answer for that. She only wept, watching her daughter led away in handcuffs. Weeks later, at a public Adelique Foundation ceremony, Deo stood at a podium, Dara beside him, arms still in a light sling. Toby seated proudly in the front row, looking healthier than he had in years. Many of you heard the rumors about my wife, Deo began, voice steady. That she tricked her way into this family. Today I want to show you the truth about the family that tried to destroy her instead. Screens behind him lit up with copies of forged invoices, falsified signatures, years of documented fraud against small suppliers. Gasps spread through the crowd. The Okafor Company's contracts with every business connected to this foundation are terminated, effective today, Deo continued. And this evidence has already been submitted to the appropriate authorities. He turned to Dara, taking her hand. This woman, everything she ever did was honest. I only wish the people who forced that lie on her had been half as honest themselves. The wedding was nothing like the first arrangement. No arranged deception, no false name on any document. Just a garden ceremony at the estate, string lights overhead, real friends and neighbors filling the chairs. Toby standing tall as Dara's escort down the aisle. You look even more nervous than the first time, Deo whispered as she reached him. The first time I was terrified you'd wake up and find out the truth, Dara whispered back, smiling through tears. This time I'm terrified of how happy I am. Mama Ruth, seated in the front row, dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief, whispering to no one in particular, Finally, this family has some peace. Ngozi the maid, standing near the food table, sniffled loudly. If anybody asks me, I knew from the first day. Dara would be our wife. The pastor cleared his throat, smiling. Deo Adelique, do you take Dara, under her true name with her true heart, to be your wife? I do, Deo said, without a moment's hesitation. And Dara, do you take Deo to be your husband? Dara looked at him, then at Mama Ruth, then at Toby standing beside her, healthy and beaming, and finally back to Deo. I do. Before the pastor could close the ceremony, Toby raised a hand, grinning. Wait, can I say something? Sister, you always told me Mama used to say, a hand that gives will always find something to hold on to after. He gestured around the garden, at Deo, at Mama Ruth, at the small crowd of real friends. Look at everything your hand is holding now. Dara pressed a hand to her mouth, tears spilling freely. And Deo pulled her close as the small crowd erupted into applause. Near the back, Chioma the nurse elbowed Dr. Femi, grinning. Doctor, you said there was nothing more medicine could do. I stand corrected. Dr. Femi said, laughing. Whatever this was, it worked better than anything in my textbooks. As the celebration wound down, Dara and Deo made their way out through the garden, hand in hand. Families and friends lined the path on either side, tossing flowers and petals into the air, cheering and clapping as the couple passed. Toby whistled loudly from somewhere near the front. Ngozi wiped her eyes with the corner of her wrapper, still cheering. Dara laughed, ducking as a handful of petals landed in her hair, and Deo pulled her closer, both of them glowing under the string lights and the noise of everyone who loved them. If this story touched something in you, don't go away yet. Subscribe for more stories like this one, hit like, and tell us in the comments what you learned from Dara's story. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next unforgettable journey.